down, sport. Tie me kangaroo down. Tie me kangaroo down, sport. Tie me kangaroo down. Take me koala back, Jack. Take me koala back. That's all right on the track, mate. Take me koala back. Oh, the other now. Tie me kangaroo.
For those of you in Australia, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, or that to everybody actually. But you know, for the Aussies, you know what's coming up. Australia Day, the 26th. So I saw the first lamb ad, and I'm quite horrified actually by this ad. It's got subliminal messaging, it's got predictive programming, it's got maybe a bit of a predictive future for us, a bit dystopian. I'm not really liking it. I think it's really exclusive, it's quite bigoted, and it's even a bit racist. But anyway, so I thought it quite fitting to have Rolf Harris's Tie Me Kangaroo Down song in the lead up to this. But of course, it's not Rolf Harris singing that because he's in prison somewhere because he's a child molester. So he's in prison in the UK somewhere. But this is the song from an Australian movie, Wolf Creek, where it's based on the serial killer Ivan Milat, the backpacker murderer. So I thought that was very fitting for Australia, seeing as that we are basically a prison. We've been a prison since the whole inception. We are on an island. We can't get off. We are prisoners here. We have guards, which are called police and military. We also have huge rules. We have no weapons to defend ourselves, so we're like slave mentality prisoners. It's not a very pleasant place to be. So if you're in another part of the world and you're thinking, wow, Australia is the best place in the world, it is a beautiful place. It's just a shitty place to live. It's a nice place to go on holiday, but you wouldn't want to live here. But anyway, so this is the ad for Australia Day, and I'll stop as we go along. I was trying to do how many predictive programming things there were in there, but I went, who cares? I got to about number 5 and I went, there's too many.
Yes! I'm the best!
Congratulations, Gerald. But unfortunately, boasting is un-Australian.
Can't be better than anybody else. How dare you even attempt
Dorothy.
to be better?
He stole my recipe.
Dobbing is also very un-Australian.
Hey lady, you're un-Australian.
See, everyone...
Cheat stick?
But can you believe that? When they say you're not Australian, you're disappearing. You no longer exist. Do you see that? If that doesn't tell you that people are just popping off or dropping like flies, left, right and centre, I don't know what to tell you. It's right in your face. It's in this bloody ad. And I think in some ways they're trying to make it very exclusive and inclusive in mentality, like a two-tiered society. You're those that have taken the treatment, and I'm going to be bigoted and racist and say all of that. Some have taken a certain medical treatment, and therefore they have privileges and rights that others that haven't taken it don't. I haven't taken it, and I never will. And I have never had the illness. There you go. And I don't hide away from people. I wouldn't say I'm anything special, but I just am not someone that was willing to have my DNA changed. And Gideon, our friends up in the sky, told me, do not do it. Do not change your DNA. Stay the way you are. And I listened to my friends. But anyway, so let's continue.
Un-Australian!
What's the deal with people in Australia? Did they just... What's the deal with people in Australia? Did they just...
Is that kombucha?
So are these people just disappearing, or are they dying? Once again, is that the lead up to all of a sudden people that you think were there and they're talking, then they talk about a butcher? Is that they're butchering us? This is where you've got to put the words and the timing. They talk about people like poof, disappearing, like up in a cloud of smoke. Then all of a sudden they're talking about somebody being a butcher. And what treatment is people having? It's a medical treatment, which, you've got to remember, the gentleman from Fizzer, He's a veterinarian. He's not a human doctor. He's a veterinarian. If that doesn't tell you that we're bloody lab rats, I don't know what to tell you. Open your eyes. But anyway, let's go back to Australia Day and its propaganda.
Un-Australian.
The worst thing you can ever call an Australian.
Where do they go?
Oh, just an infinite cultural exile from which they can never return.
Did you hear that? Where did they go? They went to an infinite cultural exile that they can never return. So that also saying that this is a big decision that you're making not to follow the mainstream path, that you will be segregated and isolated and potentially removed, you know what I'm saying, no longer living, that it's too late? Or is it that those that have taken the treatment are going to be so brainwashed that when they turn the gee whiz on, that they will not have any, you know, as they've said, you know, Swab and his friend have said, you know, you are hackable, you know, animals. You're not human anymore once you've had the treatment. You're not classed as a human being. So, and they're talking about culture. There's a big thing here in Australia about the environment, how now that Labor is in the federal politics, they introduced, Tanya Sibachik, I can't even say her name, introduced a 56-page document just after Christmas about how they're going to be greening, turning everything back to nature. And it's a big agenda because, you know, we're horrible humans and we're destroying the society and we're destroying all the habitat for the animals, and we're just evil, horrible people. And is that the culture they're talking about, or is the culture species culture? Is it civilized culture, or is it different ethnical culture? They don't really talk about it because culture is very, very broad. But anyway, let's continue.
Okay, yeah. It's getting a little out of hand.
Yes, it is.
With no one left soon.
Ruby, can you turn it
up?
up?
No one left soon.
Subtitles? Un-Australian.
Subtitles, un-Australian. Subtitles for people that have a disability or people that need to speak, read in a different language. So once again, that is calling Australians un-Australian to want someone to be able to have subtitles. So you're saying that it's un-Australian to have, you know, disabled people, like deaf people, or people that need to speak in read another language. You know, and that again is bigoted, and that's really, really disgusting. I can't believe they're saying that. They're demoralising Australians. They're discriminating. They're racial pigs doing whoever did this ad. They should be shot.
Great, now I can't get a drink. So bloody pub is un-Australian. Oh, fuck!
The whole, you know, once again, they're making Australians out to be alcoholics. You know, you can't even get a bloody drink, you know. It's fucked, you know. It's ridiculous. So it's turning us into horrible people. It's displaying us as horrible people. Can you not see that? I think it's disgusting, and it should be taken off the bloody air or off YouTube. It's demoralising. But anyway, let's continue because it doesn't get any better. Oh, and that if we go back, that sign that's down on the ground.
Oh, fuck!
It actually has something about where is it? It says Aussie athletes expressed opinion. So is that because of Djokovic? Like, he was an Australian athlete, but, you know, he was an athlete in Australia doing the Australian Open, you know, the Australian closed event, that they deported him and put him in a detention centre. So, and this is here. Look at that. Aussie athletes express opinion. So is that their way of having a dig about the whole thing that happened a year ago? Because, you know, the Australian Open is after Australia Day. So, yeah. And they really thought they were going to get credit for that. Those buffoons, they really did. They thought they were going to, they thought Swab will go, oh my darling Australians, you are the best country in the world. You follow all the rules. You eat the bugs. You do everything right. You are my favourite people, my favourite children. And they got humiliated and shamed and woke a lot of people up, I will say. So I'm glad they were so naive and so stupid, thinking that they could get away with it. Maybe this ad is the same thing. Maybe they're all on our side. I don't know. But anyway, let's continue. Now, this part here is showing how isolated parts of Australia are. Once you're no longer in a city, you're not in a cultural area, when you don't have anything around you, you're on your own. And it's very dangerous. So this is a precursor, I think, as a warning.
What are you here for?
Tried to eat a meat pie with these.
Don't know the words to Kaysan.
Now, Kaysan is a song from an Australian band sung by Jimmy Barnes, Cold Chisel. And if you don't know the words for that, they're saying you're not Australian. Basically, they're saying if you're not a yob that likes Australian hard rock, or Jimmy Barnes, who just yells, he doesn't really sing, he yells, then you're not Australian. And, you know, the other guy with a knife and fork, you know, Aussies eat a pie out of a paper bag. If you want to be dignified and sit down and use a knife and fork, and actually, God forbid, might even use a plate and a napkin, wow, then you're not Australian. So once again, they are assuming that all Australians are yobos, that they are alcoholics, they're bigoted racists, and that they're stupid. And I think it's disgusting.
Charged him $1 for tomato sauce.
What is this? Where am I?
Lamb.
How's that un-Australian?
All I said was, bon appetit.
Beautiful day. Lamb. Doesn't get any better than this. Well, that was an unexpected escalation.
It's zero alcohol.
Still free beer, though.
Can you believe that? They've got the police, the traffic wardens, or the traffic money makers, and then they're giving beer, but it's alcohol-free beer. Insane.
Bludgeoning is un-Australian.
It's lazy, not un-Australian.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Now, when they talk about, you know, Australians are lazy, unproductive and lazy, and it has the guy zipping in and zipping out, it's like he's in a matrix, he's flicks in and flicks out, or is it just the jobs? I'm not looking to see if it's the same person, or is it just all the different people, they're shifting jobs all the time, that Australians can't keep a job, you know, and that once again is very, very racist and bigoted, and I don't like it. Or is it a way of saying that the worker shortage is going to continue, so therefore the shortages are going to continue? Is this their subliminal way of hinting at it?
Where did you get that?
The Exile barbecue. Everyone's there, mate.
There's a lamb barbecue happening in Exile? Go the All Blacks!
We have to go back to it. It's got Australia's population, 43. Look at that. Now, if that doesn't tell you that something's happening with our population, I don't know. And this is on Australia Day ad. The only thing would be worse if it was 33, because we know what they do with 33s. But anyway, let's continue.
I'm a weak swimmer.
Feature doesn't belong on a burger.
Un-Australian?
And where have we seen all the animals going round in circles? Can you believe they put this in the friggin' Australia Day ad? People going round and round in circles. It's not just one layer, it's 3 layers. And if that doesn't tell you hive mind, sheep, that they're going to turn the 5 Ouija's on, and people are going to start being hackable animals, like Charles Schwab's mate has said, then I don't know what to tell you. It's in your face. This is Australia Day ad. And you know Australia Day is the the starting point for half of what's happening in the world, because we're isolated. There's not many of us. We have no weapons. We can't defend ourselves, and we can't fucking get off here. It's like you're on the merry-go-round and you can't get off. Every time it stops and somebody, you know, the car up ahead of you, as they go down and people get on and off, and they get to you and you think, oh shit, I can get off here, and it keeps going, and they don't stop at your end. So you're on there all the time. It's like Groundhog Day.
Looks like we're all a bit un-Australian.
Guess that's what makes us Australian.
How do we get back?
Why would you want to?
I don't know.